Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast episode video where I go through the experience that I had while doing the Darkness retreat in Les Waterfalls, north of Bali. It has been a deeply profound, transformative journey, probably one of the most intense and impactful experiences that I've had. And yeah, still integrating a lot of things, but I do feel called to share, to explore it a little bit with you in this video. The things that I experienced, the things that I learned through it, and where, yeah, where I see my life and my service kind of moving um, towards afterwards. So yeah, I want to have some tea while we're doing it. I just prepared my tea here. I invite you if you want to have a hot beverage while you listen to this. And then we can go on this journey together. Okay. So yeah, I want to explore this journey in two parts. I don't know if I'll keep this video one part or make it in two parts, but for me, this whole experience um, mirrored this archetypal hero's journey that we see in pretty much every myth. Like if you look at the myth of Inanna, for example, like going into the dark, into the underworld, retrieving the medicine, and then coming back into the light. So I feel like for me too, the first 3 days while I was in the dark room, like physical darkness, was really the 3 days of the descent deep into the underworld, into the deeper parts of my psyche. And then coming out, that was the big threshold, and we'll explore that. That was the biggest moment actually. And the days that follow afterwards, um, it was 6 days after because I took my time to sit with it, to integrate it before coming back to the busy life in Ubud in Bali. So the 6 days afterwards, I feel like that was the ascent, so the ascent back into the light. So the first part would be like the descent and what I learned in the dark, and then the second part is the ascent back, and then the medicine that I bring and the challenges to embody that medicine. So yeah, this is it's like I talked before about rites of passage, and I feel like this for me has been one of my biggest rites of passage is being in that space where I get asked the deeper questions, where I get face to face with the fears, with the inadequacies, with the childhood traumas, and it's asking me the deeper existential question and the question of being able, am I able to hold what wants to move through me, the medicine that I'm here to serve. And in a way, this was that rite of passage that resulted in the emergence of a new me, and I really feel like completely changed, um, both on the emotional, energetic, but also on the physical level. And also, like my life is a reflection of these changes. So okay, so when it comes to the descent, the darkness, I felt really called to do it in Les Waterfalls. So the moment I heard about this retreat, yeah, it deeply resonated with me. There was a big voice that was saying yes, and I'm happy that I went there. There's a few more options here in Bali, but just the energy there near the waterfall, super, super powerful. It's very quiet, very peaceful. You're in the middle of nature. And yeah, it was about 2 hour and a half drive from where I live. So it felt like a journey, like driving there, going all the way. The journey itself was very beautiful because I started from the very sunny, active Ubud, and then up north to Kintamani, which is a mountain valley region, in the north of Bali, where it was very cold. And then going down towards the ocean where the waterfall is, I went through this pouring heavy rain. So it was such a beautiful journey, like starting from like the sun and the cold and the heavy rain, and then finally arriving at the ocean where it was like warm and peaceful and soothing again. And the host, Tuli, she such a wonderful person, holding such a beautiful space. The ceremony itself was beautiful, very intentional. Yeah, and then we went to the dark, to the cabins. So there's two cabins. There was someone else, another friend that I met that time during that day for the first time, and she was going into the other cabin. So basically we have these two cabins. The room itself is completely light sealed, so you see absolutely nothing. It's just pure black, but it is not soundproof. And for me this was beautiful because I did have the option because they have noise cancelling headphones, so there was always the option of using those when I wanted complete silence. But I really like the idea of hearing the nature sounds, like the birds in the morning, um, the leaves, the trees, the rain. That was like one of the most wow, wow experience to hear the rain in the dark. Like it was one of the days, it was like heavy rain, and wow, it's like literally every drop felt like a meteor shower onto the rooftop. So intense, so powerful, so activating. So yeah, the room itself, you do hear sounds. In that sense, yeah, I was a little bit mindful as well that there's a cabin right next to mine and there's another person there. But I feel like, yeah, the experience itself was perfect. Really nice tea. And then, yeah, getting used to the room. So I entered at sunset. We had a little ceremony, dinner at the fire in front of near the cabins. And then I went in. And you get some time to accommodate to like, the room is very like small and functional. Small, it's big enough, but not like that you get lost in there, like if you have enough space. Like I could also like do stretching in the morning and stuff, but it's small enough that it's functional, and then you get from one point to another pretty quick. Because yeah, in the dark, you have to really be present and very focused and intentional with everything that you do. So yeah, I got used to the room. I set up my space. I only had a couple of crystals that I put on a small table like this one, maybe a bit smaller. There's a table next to the entrance where they have a black box where your food gets delivered from the outside. It's all light sealed. They ring the bell before putting the food so that you don't open it in the same time, like, so when you hear the bell, someone's opening that door, they put a food in, and then you can open it on your side, and it's completely light sealed. So yeah, it was beautiful getting used to the room. Honestly, I didn't feel fear. There was very, very little fear of turning off the lights. And yeah, you do have the control to turn off the lights when it feels comfortable for you. So I was sitting there and like contemplating a little bit and sitting with my intent for this journey, this rite of passage, this initiation. And then I turned the light switch off, And it was very interesting that the first few hours was very soothing. It was very calm in the sense of feeling like suddenly all narratives just came to an end. There were no more options of like, oh, maybe I should do this, or do that, oh, I haven't done this. It's like everything was done. It's like you're just there in this black, empty space with nothing to do, nowhere to be, just yourself, your mind. And it might sound scary when I put it like that, but honestly, it was so soothing for me because for the first time in years, since I've been on this nomadic journey, being a freelancer, working for myself, then starting my own company, being an entrepreneur, like when you work for yourself, I'm always in this or was always in this productivity based mode, like doing things. And yeah, it feels so soothing to finally just be with your mind, not trying to pick any options because there is no option. The only option is to just be. So that's how I kind of spend my first few hours in the dark, is really sitting with myself, allowing my mind to go where it wants to go. I have a very busy mind. I do have in my astrology chart my Mercury at the exact degree of my ascendant. So it's a very strong Mercury. And yeah, I do have a very busy mind that likes to think all the time. And honestly, yeah, the first few hours I was thinking, okay, it's like I'm going to quiet the mind. And sure, like throughout the years, I accumulated so many practices to doing this, from meditation to breath work to, yeah, different types of body awareness to surrendering to, like, yeah, a lot of practices that I can do without needing anything, just like literally myself, my breath, and my body. But then, yeah, I realized that it was very hard to quiet the mind. In the dark, it just felt that the terrain felt way more fertile. So then a lot more things were coming, like a lot. So then I was like, okay, I don't want to fight with my mind, so I'll just let it be. And I just sat there, effortless, observe it where it wants to go. It was very beautiful. Yeah, in this sense, like, honestly, throughout the whole 3 days, I haven't had a moment where I felt bored. Um, there was, yeah, absolutely no moment where I was like, oh, it's like wanting the time to hmm, pass faster. No, there was so much going on, especially on the emotional um, plane, and we'll get to that in a second too. So yeah, that was my first night. Then going to sleep was very comfortable, and waking up in the morning is very interesting because you wake up and then, like, obviously in the day-to-day life, I wake up and the first thing is I open my eyes, right? And that gives me a sense of where I am, who I am, if I'm awake, if I'm dreaming. I see like my body, my hands, then I go to the bathroom, I see my face. You have none of those in the dark. You wake up and you're in complete darkness, complete black. Like, you don't see where you are, you don't see your body, you don't see anything. So at first it was interesting, making the distinction between, am I still dreaming? Is this reality? Yeah, it was was fun, was exciting. But I did wake up with a lot of energy in the first day, very excited. I remember I did some stretching, some movement, I had breakfast, or the first meal in the dark. I do recommend, if you do the darkness retreat, to eat. Sure, you have the option to fast as well, but I do feel like, at least for me, it was a journey of nourishing myself too and kind of being present with my body. And I felt like eating felt right because, well, there was a lot of things going on in the dark anyway. And so you do have that vision quest by just being there. But then, yeah, I did feel like, yeah, food would be very nourishing, soothing to my body, and also it's quite a sensation. So, wow. And it was only getting better and better because your sensitivity keeps getting higher and higher. The more you stay in the dark, the more your sensitivity heightens. By the end of day 3, my sensitivity was like skyrocketed off the roof. Um, so yeah, having the first meal, and yeah, the meals were very nice, very light. I only had fruits in the morning, some light meal for lunch, and then soup for dinner. All vegan, was super sweet. We always had 2 bowls of water, two what's it called, like thermoses of tea, which was a bit more difficult to use than I imagined because it's very hard to pour water in the dark. You know, you don't want to spill it. So what I was doing is just opening that thermos and leaving it until like it would cool down enough that I can drink from the bowl and then just drink it like that. But yeah, anyway, so going back to the food was super, super nice. Like really being present with the food, like really being there, like feeling the texture, the taste of each fruit. Like, yeah, because there's nothing else that is stimulating you at that moment, right? Like when you eat right now, it's like even if I don't do anything else, like I still see something. Like I look at the landscape, there's like sounds, there's things, there's visuals. But in the dark, like, yeah, there was nothing. And yeah, you can use the headphones, then you're like complete silent, so no other stimuli, and then your whole awareness, your whole focus goes onto the taste because then that's your only stimuli. So very, very interesting experience. I really loved it. And honestly, since we're on this subject of sensitivity, I do feel like it was very interesting observing throughout the days, like day 1, day 2, day 3, how things felt. So the food I mentioned now, the clothes, like you do have the option to be naked if you want. It's pretty warm, but I did like my linen top and pants. So I don't know, I just liked some texture on my skin. But yeah, the texture felt so nice, like the fabric and like feeling it and like moving the body and feeling how it feels. And also like I had, when I was holding my crystals, like just feeling the texture of the crystal itself was like, wow, so nice. And then with the sounds, like I told you about the rain, we had the shower, like having a shower in the dark was very interesting experience because yeah, you really feel like this heightened sensation of the water too. um, and the sound on the last day, so I had the Tibetan sound bowl with me, and yeah, somehow I haven't used it until the very last day. The last day I did have this desire to play with it a little bit, and wow, that sound was something else. It really took me to some very interesting places. Yeah, I could feel like the resonance in my whole body, and I was playing it very like not loud, like very soft, because it's also aware that there's someone else in the other cabin, not wanting to like make too much noise. But even so, like the subtle like movement, that sound was piercing. Wow, so intense. Could really feel like each vibration. It was very beautiful. And then oils. So I had a couple of essential oils with me, and yeah, I was using them like on my hands and then like smelling it. Very interesting experience as well. So anyway, all your senses get dialed up. It's, yeah, it's very, very interesting. And then other things that I had, like in the first day, that's kind of how I ended day one, and then began day two. Day two was also Tuesday, a Mars day, and it was a little bit like all over the place. And I could see how when I'm in distress and I'm not like present, I started like bumping into things. I like spilled a jar, and then I had to like spend an hour or two cleaning it, which is not easy in the dark. You do have the option, obviously, of calling them and they can come and sort out things, but I didn't want to like have anyone come in, and yeah, I just did everything myself. But yeah, so the end of day one and beginning of day two, and throughout day two, I had very intense emotional journeys, and it really took me to deeper parts of myself and like my childhood, especially my relationship with my family, my previous relationships, like romantic partners. I was able to see a lot of unfulfilled desires or longings, visions of like wanting to reconnect, for example, with my family, to nourish the relationship. Yeah, I did cry a lot the second day, especially having these visions, these desires, kind of like not knowing how to do these things, and just being in that space, feeling that distance of like, wow, I could feel these people next to me, but then physically we're like 10,000 kilometers away, and I'm in this dark room by myself, and I could, yeah, feel this deep longing for connection. And yeah, also something that came to me is like how I was able to, and I'm able to hold space for a lot of people, help them through the work that I do. But then the only people that I can't help right now is the people that I care the most. Or not that I can't, but I just don't know how. So yeah, a lot of things came to me, and it was very, very emotional. And yeah, seeing all the things the places where I betrayed myself by playing small, by being what other people wanted me to be, by, yeah, kind of, like that, sometimes that low road of Aquarius. I'm strong Aquarius, and my sun and rising are both Aquarius. And with the Aquarius, I always say that they long to belong, but their karma is to be different. So when I was little, I did a lot of things to be able to belong. And because life was always pushing me to embrace the weirdness, the quirkiness, the like just being different, yeah, it wasn't working out. And that was causing a lot of pain until I realized, like, oh, okay, so this is the journey. And then once I started owning my authenticity with the risk of not belonging, paradoxically, I started belonging more. So, yeah, but with the family dynamics, it's still a little bit a work in progress. And so, yeah, a lot of things came. And then a lot of clarity around career and the work that I want to do. And also that connects with the 10th house too. So that was very interesting. The 10th house is the house of kind of like how we're seen in the world through the work that we do. So I could see, yeah, the type of work that I'm meant to be doing with people, and a lot has changed. And yeah, I'll talk about it in a little bit when we talk about the ascent, because I feel like has more to do with that. But I do feel a newfound confidence, motivation, and clarity onto the work and the medicine that I want to do. Let me see, because I wrote also some notes here to see what things I wanted to cover. But yeah, and one of the things that happened there was interesting, because I had this expectation, talking and like hearing on other podcasts about people that have done the darkroom experience. And yeah, obviously, like you build up these expectations and imagine how things are gonna be, and feeling like, wow, like these visions are gonna come, these journeys. And yeah, by the end of day one, so once I've been there for like at least 24 hours, um, none of those came. Like I was telling you, it was just like peaceful, quiet, and black. Like all I've seen for days was just pure black, with the eventual occasional mandalas, like weird shapes unfolding and kind of growing in front of me and moving from one pattern to another and keep evolving, dancing in front of me. But other than that, like, yeah, it was mostly emotional journey. So then it was interesting sitting with this expectation and asking myself, can I allow it to be what needs to be? Can I accept the gift that this experience is and not what I want it to be? Like, can I enjoy and embrace the medicine of the moment without trying to change it? And this has been a big, big thing for me, because with my South Node in Virgo, again, for those of you familiar with astrology, and my moon in the sixth house, I do have this tendency to controlling things, to putting things in the right order and how I see them fit. And a lot of times life is like, nope, we do it this way. And yeah, it was beautiful surrendering to that experience. And the moment that I let go of the expectations, it felt great. And I was able to, like I was telling you, sit with what was coming to me and what was needed for me, and not what I felt like I might need, you know? Um, yeah, another thing is about time. So one thing that I realized there is we have so much time, like so much time. But we're always multitasking, always in a rush, always on to the next thing. You finish one thing, then on to the next thing. And yeah, like I've experienced so many times in my life before when I felt like it's like there's not enough hours in the day. Like, and looking back, like the weeks, I was like, where did all this time go? But then in the dark, when you're so present, it's like time stretches so much. Like the gap between the breaths, between your heartbeats, enlarges and like stretches so much, and there's so much time. Like I had so many contemplations during the day, and sure, you might think, yeah, well, there was nothing to do, but trust me, it's not like it was not like that. It's just that pure presence, because I experienced this coming back too, coming back to Ubud, living like in the light. And I see when I can cultivate and follow the same slow, intentional, devotional living, which is the greatest medicine that I feel like I received from the dark, is slow, intentional, devotional living. There's so much time available. And I don't need to work that much. I don't need to run. I don't need to multitask. I can just be present with one thing at a time. And that's also very important in the dark. You cannot multitask. Like you cannot. You have to really be present. Otherwise you're gonna bump into things, otherwise you're gonna forget where you put something. And like trust me, if you forget where you put something in the dark, you'll find it when you get out. So yeah, this idea of presence over productivity. Like life doesn't require me to be productive, it requires me to be present. When I'm present enough, that means things have a way of getting done. Life has a way of getting things done. We see these in nature, right? We don't need to run, we don't need to rush. Yeah, and when obviously, like, I want to emphasize here, when I talk about these things like surrender, effortlessness, presence, I don't mean resignation in the sense that maybe some people believe it's like just lying on a couch or on your chair and gazing at the horizon without doing anything. I'm not talking about that. You can have the busiest day ever. You can be doing all the like things non-stop. What I mean is like to be fully focused, fully present with that thing that you do, and effortless. Like allow it to unfold, enjoy it for what it is. Like don't try to change it, don't think about something else, don't try to be somewhere else. As long as you are with it, it's like I feel like life is full of delight. And yeah, I'll talk about this in a second because this was a big thing too, coming out of the dark. But yeah, I wanted to mention this thing about time. If you find yourself always feeling like you're running out of time, quote unquote, or that you don't have enough time, I invite you to cultivate a bit of presence. Um, yeah, it might sound a bit counterproductive, but I feel like try doing less, try working less, try doing less things in the day. And then you'll see surprisingly that things still get done, nature still moves on, people are still there, everything moves as it needs to, but you'll have more time. Um, yeah, and then so yeah, day two was pretty intense. I would say very, very, very emotional. A lot of crying, a lot of releasing energies, sitting with people, having conversations in my mind with my family, with previous partners, and then day day three came, and day three was very interesting as well. um, I had one beautiful contemplation actually on day three about death, and that was um yeah, somehow I was just again pretty much like this what I've done the whole day. I was just sitting on a yoga mat that was like next to the bed. So you have the bed, then we had like a little bean bag that I haven't really used, that small table that was at the entrance, and like I placed like a yoga mat between the table and the bed because that was kind of my guidance. Whenever I was stepping on the yoga mat, I would know, okay, so I'm at this part of the room, because it can get pretty confusing in the dark and the room takes a whole different shape. But anyway, so pretty much most of the time what I was doing was outside of like when the food was coming and I was taking my time, probably like an hour to eat. I would just sit there all day on the yoga mat and like contemplate. Drink tea sometimes. I would drink quite a lot of tea and then contemplate. Mm. And at one point, it came to me this vision of my, like the moment of my death. And it was very interesting to contemplate and to see that as I was closing my eyes for the last time in this body, there was not that much thought about the things that I've accomplished, the things that I've did, the things that I've experienced, but rather the person that I was, and most importantly, who are the people that were there next to me and who are the people that were in my life. And yeah, I do get emotional thinking about it. But yeah, it was powerful to think that, wow, the thing that mattered the most to me in that moment was who are the people that are in my life and what is my relationship to them, how do we get along, like what, yeah, what do we feel about each other. So yeah, just putting it out there. Yeah, for me it was very poetic, very nice to, yeah, cultivate and nourish the relationships in my life and focus more on my relationship with people than the work that I need to do. And just allow the work to come through me as it always has been. I also have my Saturn in the 11th house, which is all about community. I mean, not all about, but it is very community oriented. So yeah, that was a beautiful note to end the descent. So by the end of day 3, it was about when we were coming out again during sunset time, so the light was not that intense. But coming out has been the biggest experience, and this is something that I want to explore now, because as I was telling you when I began this transmission, this work, this podcast, that I didn't feel a lot of fear. Like, honestly, very, 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 very little. The moment I was about to turn the light off, and then I knew that's it. I'm not gonna see light for a few days. But when I knew that the time is coming to come out, and I knew because like after lunch, you know that okay, this is the last meal that I'm gonna have in the dark, and then dinner was about to have the fire during the sunset time, but outside the cabin. So kind of knew that okay, in few hours it's gonna be the time to come out, and my nervousness started to get very, very, very intense. I started feeling anxiety, fear, and then I was sitting with myself and realizing like, wow, I became so comfortable in the dark. It became so soothing, so homey, that I was afraid of coming out. I was afraid of the light. I was afraid of what I'm gonna experience. And also being at that threshold, I could feel I'm about to step into a new identity. I'm about to let go of who I was. I'm about to be a new person. And that felt scary because our minds like to protect us by keeping us in the known, in the comfortable, in the familiar, even though that familiar is not serving us. So I could feel that firsthand how, wow, it's like whenever I was thinking of stepping into something new, bold, more expansive, there was fear. And yeah, you would think there would be excitement to come out, but it was very little excitement and more like anxiety. Um, Up to the point where like I wanted to write them a letter because could write notes and put them in the box, so I was thinking of writing a note to ask if I can extend few more days, but I knew that there's someone else coming afterwards. It was already discussed before I entered. So again, I just surrendered to the medicine that I needed, and I felt okay. Let's sit with these feelings, and yeah, was keep going up and up and up this nervousness, and my palms were sweaty. I was like I couldn't like stand still, and then the moment came, basically. So there was no talking. So every time they would bring you the food, like I told you, it was just ringing a bell. So I didn't hear like any voice or anything. And then the moment you come out, the facilitators would truly be there like outside your door, and she would just say like, okay, so the time in the darkness is coming to an end, and then to take your time, and when you're ready, now you can go out. I was wearing my eye mask then. Um, and yeah, I remember when I heard them like taking the covers of the door, because there's like some covers they put on, so there's like literally no light leak, nothing. So I could hear from outside how they were like taking the covers, and then my heart was like like racing, like jumping out of my chest. Um, Feeling this anxiety of like, wow, how is it gonna be? Also, like, I in that morning I had this idea to send a note to ask Tuli if she can record the video. I thought it would be interesting to see the experience. She can record the video of me coming out, and yeah, she did. I haven't seen the video yet. uh, yeah, I don't know, the experience of being on the other side was so magical that, yeah, somehow I haven't looked at the video, but I will, because when I post, I also wrote a lot, journaled a lot about this. So when I post that, I might post the video too, so I'll watch it. But yeah, anyway, so it was that moment, and yeah, I was kind of like cultivating my courage of, okay, like time to come out, time to come out. And I'm standing there in front of the door, sitting with myself, and this is a moment I will never forget. I I took off the eye mask, and then as I was sitting there, and the door was in front of me, and I knew they already took the cover off. Well, the door was still closed, but I just opened my eyes for a second, like opened my eyes, and I saw the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen in my life, which was this black door that was in front of me and surrounded by this halo of light, this like intense white bursting light from behind the door. And I was mesmerized in that moment. I was like, wow. It's like for 3 days, for 72 hours, all I saw was black, black, black. And then in that moment, I just see this like ring that looked like light or fire around this door. It's like coming from behind. And I was like, wow, wow. It felt so amazing to see those rays of light, that halo around the door. Yeah, it was breathtaking. And then I closed my eyes again, and in that moment I could feel like, wow, this is it. This is the point of no return. Like I can't go back anymore. Now I have to come out. Uncomfortable as it is, I have to. Like the covers are already taken. I already had this like peak of like light shining behind the door, and yeah, even though it was sunset and there was little light outside, yeah, because of the sensitivity, it felt intense. So yeah, anyway, I was like, okay, this is it, the point of no return. And I opened the door while my eyes were still closed, and then I just open a little bit, like just squinting my eyes, like opening a little bit, and I start see like, wow, like there's a lot coming in. And then I got overwhelmed and I closed it again. And I was like, whew, and then I needed a moment. So I remember I sat down there in the door, and it's like Tuli was in front of me. So I saw it afterwards. Like Tuli was with the phone, like recording, like a few meters in front. It's like giving me the space, and I was there in like the door frame and like sitting, and my heart was like. And then I was like, finally, okay, this is it. Let's do it. And then I opened the door, like the eyes, like this, and that was those few seconds were the most intense few seconds of my whole life by far, and the most amazing. And yeah, it's very hard to describe into words, actually. You just have to feel it. It's like trying to describe God. It's like, I don't know, it was just such an experience. And I got overwhelmed emotionally. And even though I saw Tuli there with the phone, and I saw her face, like the first human face that I saw in days, and that beautiful landscape, the tree in front of the house, the valley, the sky that was like these pastel colors. Wow, it was so, so, so beautiful. And then, yeah, then I started crying, like uncontrollably. It's like at the beginning I was trying to hold on the tears, like instinctual. when you see someone in front of you, or at least me, like I was seeing her, and then obviously like she had the phone because I asked her if she can record. And initially I was like trying to hold on the tears, but I was like, no, just like let it go. And yeah, then I started crying and crying, and in that moment I could feel like how the purpose of life, from my perspective, in that moment, to be a witness of beauty, to observe beauty. I feel like that's why we're here in this like temporal bodies with this five senses reality, to observe beauty, to be a record of the beauty and the magnificence of nature. And yeah, I haven't felt like that before in my life. Overwhelmed by the beauty that was around me, the colors, the textures, the light, everything. Yeah. And I felt like in that moment as being born anew from that dark womb. I was emerging as a new person, as a new me. And in that moment, there was that unique opportunity to reset, to take the first step with intent and in alignment. And that's what I did. I took my time. I sat there by the tree for a few more minutes while like she only recorded like a few seconds, a minute of video, and then she left. She went to the fire. There was like the nice beautiful fire there prepared with dinner. I took some time. I sat there by the tree by myself, like basking into, like taking it all in, immersing myself fully into the landscape. It was like just looking around and seeing everything, like all these movements and birds moving, insects and the leaves of the trees, and the trees like dancing, and the clouds, and like very hard to describe it in words, like it does need to be experienced. And yeah, then I joined the fire. I wasn't able to eat that time because I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I was like crying, then like breathing, being present. Then I would look into the fire, the beautiful, like powerful flame, and then I would like tears would roll down my cheeks again, and yeah, it was beautiful. And then we came back. I didn't say a word. It's just like there, present. And then I came back to the room where they left the candle open, burning, and it was beautiful seeing the room in the candlelight. It took a whole different shape. It was, the space was different. Familiar but different. And yeah, I remember I wrote things, I was journaling, and then I felt this nostalgia again for the dark. And so yeah, I blew the candle off, and spent that one last night in the darkness. It felt so good when I turned off the light, the candle light again, and was like, whew, okay, back to the dark. And that was the end of the descent, and that very intense, beautiful threshold of coming into the light. And then, so that's the end of part one. And part two is starting the next day. When I woke up, we had breakfast outside again. And then that was it. Then I left the cabin, and I moved to a new lovely house that was in nature, near the waterfall, very quiet, very peaceful, in that very, very tiny village. I spent the first day like really being in a psychedelic trip. It's like just holding still. I sat for hours just literally looking at the tree that was in front of me, watching it dance with the wind. I was so mesmerized. And then looking at my crystals, and I had this crystal in my hand. I realized like how wow, like I can see details in it that I wasn't observing before. Like I could see those like tiny frozen words inside of it. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And it felt so amazing. And definitely like that high sensitivity felt so good. So yeah, I pretty much spent the whole day just basking in the environment, like looking at things, observing things moving around me. Um, I didn't want to have any like media input or anything. Like I already knew that I'm not gonna open my phone for a while. I'm gonna keep it offline. Um, I didn't even read until the second day. Second day, yeah, I got a book there and I started reading Rumi. I thought it would be cute and romantic to read some poetry. Um, but yeah, I only opened my phone after 1 week, the first time. So it took 1 week until I opened my phone, and the first couple of days it was on airplane mode. I was just using it to record videos because I wanted to do some to record some videos there. It was so beautiful, and I wanted to have those memories and also like play a little bit. I felt very creative. Um, yeah, let me see, what else did I write in my notes? Yeah, one thing that I was contemplating the second day. Oh yeah, and actually I didn't have any while I was living there, and also coming back to Ubud. I'm trying to like keep the same, unless necessary, to don't use artificial light. So every night there, I was just reading for a little bit at the candlelight, and then pretty much going to sleep soon after sunset. So that's one thing that really helped me there. The week that I spent after the dark room, to align my body with the rhythms of um, the sun. So wake up with sunrise, so waking up at like 4 or 5, go to sleep soon after sunset. And I've been doing the same here in Ubud, pretty much. I just had like a couple of calls that were pre-scheduled from before that were in the evening, so I attended those. But other than that, yeah, pretty much just been with natural light all the time, going to sleep pretty early. So yeah, what I was saying is, so I was reading this Rumi poetry. It was interesting. I wrote a quote here. Like Rumi was saying in one of the poems that that there are 1,000 wines that can take over our minds. Basically, like every wine that we drink will get us drunk, and it's all about having the discernment to drink from the cup that brings you closer to your higher self. And in how I was feeling it, well, basically the cup that frees you and not the one that enslaves you. And this is interesting, contemplating it from this lens of the delight. It's also like, I think Jinki 46 in the Jinkis has the gift of delight. For me, it's this idea of being drunk with life, right? Like anything that we do will will take over us, right? When we fully immerse into it. So then, yeah, to contemplate like the things that take over you, the things that you fully immerse into, the things that get you drunk. Are they freeing your mind? Are they freeing your spirit? Are you getting drunk on life? example, on beauty, on nature, on bliss? Or is it something that enslaves you, like, you know, getting lost in mindless scrolling? Or uh, yeah, I don't want to point out things now, but I just invite you to contemplate in your own life and see where is that discernment, and how can you be in that energy of delight, like a child, like a child. I always feel like they have this pure essence where the whole world is their playground. It's very beautiful. One of the days I was sitting there in the cafe watching, like, just like this very small warung cafe. That was the only place where I was eating, just close to my house, and sitting there on these, like, pillows, watching, it's like the people that were walking to the waterfall. And at one point, Tuli and her daughter, very small, came there, and it was funny how she was like holding a plate with a cake on her head, similar to the Indonesian women. Very, very cute, heartwarming moment. So I was like, yeah, just thinking like how kids, they don't care like how you perceive them. Like, yeah, they just play. They just take everything as a playground. So that would be a nice thing, to approach life in that playful manner. And yeah, I do feel like this opens up that gift of delight, which basically is the freedom of being alive, right? Um, and another thing that came to me while reading the Rumi poetry was about silence. And let me see, but I don't think, no, I haven't wrote the quote here. I just have it on my phone, or in, actually I might have it in the journal. But anyway, I'm not gonna look for it right now. But you were saying something along the lines that like quietness is the surest sign that you died, because all our lives we are frantically running away from silence. And that really hit me because I do feel like a lot of the times I was finding myself in that space. So yeah, I ask you, without going too much into my details, like, ask you like to contemplate, are you running away from silence in your life, and see what kind of medicine does just spending even few hours by yourself alone in your room can bring to you. I feel like it can be very powerful. So yeah, sit with it. If it calls you, I recommend. Um, yeah, it was very interesting spending those days there, slowly integrating things while being fully present, not absorbing anything from outside. Because, and this is also something that I noticed in the dark room after the first day, after a while of not consuming anything, I started having a lot of original thoughts. And this is fascinating to see what your mind conjures, like what it brings to surface when you don't feed it anything from the outside. It was beautiful seeing my original thoughts. You're like, oh wow, okay. Because we do feel like during the day, it's like you have sovereignty over your mind, but do we actually? Because I do feel like most of the times our thoughts are curation of the things that we consume, especially when we consume a lot. So the average person that spends few hours on social media every day, there's a lot there. So yeah, it was very nourishing to have those few days. Actually, I spent 2 weeks without opening any social media, any. There's nothing wrong with it. Like here, I'm just like wanted to make to point out that what I'm saying here is about the mindless stuff. Like when you go into it as a way of distraction, of like not being with yourself, then sure, I would invite to contemplate, like, is it really supporting you? But if you do it with intent, then, and with presence, okay, cool, like entertainment is fun too. I'm not saying like don't, like, but be present with it and have an intent of like, okay, this is what I want to do. And like, don't allow it to control you. um so yeah, it was beautiful spending that time there at the waterfall. The waterfall is so powerful. I had very interesting moments meditating there at the waterfall. um yeah, like the wind that blows the water, and then you can see it like codes, like light codes, and then you sit there in front of the waterfall and you feel like all this like water just like hitting you, and it feels like downloads and codes of remembrance. This water holds memories. It's like just pouring into your system, like activating your cells. And yeah, very powerful. I also took all the crystals that I had with me um, to the waterfall each day, and then activating them in that powerful stream. Yeah, we had some beautiful moments there. And actually, the last day was interesting when I went there to say goodbye, because I had this vision of the things that I desired in my life. Um, like the relationship with family, the school that I wanted to develop, all of these things. Um, and then it was beautiful, like sitting with them, and then also in the same time, paradoxically, like surrendering them to God, and trusting God's infinite grace, abundance, and love, and feeling like my mission is to be in devotion, to do God's work, to do the great work, to be a clear channel for what needs to move through me, to be that which is needed at every step of the way. So yeah, that was very powerful, and it was really motivating. Um, really gave me the sense of trust and knowing that things unfold as they need to. And yeah, actually, what I wanted to segue into here is another thing that I learned is to be comfortable with not knowing, with the lack of clarity, and realizing that this is also part of the journey. And like, there's also a lot of medicine in being in that space of not having the clarity, not knowing what comes next, because life is full of surprises. Life is a whole film strip of uncertainty. Like, you don't know what the next frame brings. And the more we become comfortable in that uncertainty, yeah, I feel like the more we can be anchored in our truth and present, and be that which is needed of us. Um, because I feel like when you're fully present, you will receive like the message when there's action to be taken. So that period of lack of clarity, it's inviting you to rest, to gestate, to be in that cocoon, to like wait, to work on yourself, to go into the dark, right? And God will make sure, life will make sure that you hear the message when there's time for action. It's just being present enough so you can listen to it, so you can hear it. But yeah, really contemplate, are you afraid of uncertainty, of unknown? And then how can you cultivate more trust to be in that? Especially also in like the entrepreneur space. It's like there's very little. I mean, okay, I don't want to like exaggerate now, but I would say like we at the beginning there's very little stability, like things are always like up and down. So you do have to, as an entrepreneur, working for yourself, having your own business, you do have to be very, very comfortable with experimenting, very comfortable with uncertainty, very comfortable with like not knowing what's next. That's why I feel like business is a good spiritual practice. Um, so yeah, another thing um, is this idea of like letting go too. And obviously, like right now, I'm speaking like very things that are very, I guess, familiar and that I've been sharing before. So it's not like a big revelation, but for me, the big revelation is it like experiencing these things. It's like when I was there, like it's not only that I was like thinking or like reading them or hearing them or whatever, but I was like fully experiencing it in my body. Um, yeah, with this idea of letting go, right? So every time we learn a lesson, it's important to learn, to embody, to forgive, and then to let it go, to don't hold on to it. Because if we hold on to it, the luggage becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So very important, the art of letting go of everything, basically, to always make space for the new. We can see that in nature too. Like the tree doesn't hold on to the leaves, right? How would it be if you'll be like, no, 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 it's like, I want these. It's like, no, don't worry, next season, new ones will come. So I always let go. Whatever you have, don't have any attachments to them. Just let them go. Like, trust in God and the benevolence of life, that if you're called to let go, is because something greater is waiting for you on the other side, but it takes the courage to let go. Um, yeah, it was felt good actually unpacking this. It's the first time when I'm like really going through the whole thing. I did share bits and pieces with a few friends that I met the past week. It's been a week now since I've been back at my home here. But I haven't been through like the whole thing, like the descent, the ascent, like putting them all together, the whole narrative. So yeah, I felt good now unpacking this peak experience. It's been the most like intense peak experience of my life, and I feel like now is now the journey begins. The darkness was easy. Darkness, like I was saying, was comfortable. The descent is like sure getting the medicine, but then it's the journey of having the courage to embody that medicine, bringing it into the light. And I feel like this is the big work. This is where things get challenging because you're facing real life problems, you're facing obstacles, you're facing uncertainty, you're facing the mind that wants to take you back to the comfort zone, to the familiar, to who you used to be. So, yeah, for me, that's why I'm taking things slow these days. I'm like really being present with myself and really enjoying this opportunity. Like, I feel very privileged that I have this space, this freedom, that there's nothing urgent like calling me. I can easily take off work for 2 weeks if I need to. Um, so yeah, I do feel like this is the rebirth phase. I'm still navigating it right now. I feel called to share a lot of things. I feel called right now to move, to pivot from doing these single session like I was doing for the past 2 years or more. Um, the astrology readings sessions, like a single 60-90 minute session, and then that's it, are powerful, extremely powerful, deeply transformational. Having that awareness is the number one step. It has deeply changed my life and the lives of people that I work with, but I feel like there's so much more. There's so much more. And yeah, going into these long-term containers now, like few months of working together, I feel like this is where my path is. And so yeah, I would like to begin my work from having an astrology session because that really helps me to attune and like see where people are, like use astrology as this practice to craft the vision, to craft the journey, to like see where we're going towards, what is the higher potential, what are the shadows that we're navigating, but then go into like these longer journeys, transformational journeys, and I want to be there every step of the way with people. Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot from this experience, not necessarily at the mental level, 'cause mostly were things that I've already like was familiar with, but at the experience level, like feeling, embodying it, I do feel like way more confident than before in my values, in the value of the work that I provide. Yeah, that's why I feel like doing this, like this work with people that are ready to go deep and to really step up their life, to really upgrade every aspect of their life. It's like we have all these 12 places, 12 houses in the chart, right? Like each one representing an area of our lives. Well, yeah, I want to go with someone that's ready to upgrade pretty much all of them. So if you're feeling inspired by these, send me a message. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have questions, if you want the recommendation of the contact of where I was, send me a private message. Yeah, if you've been through the experience of going into the dark, I would love to hear your journey. And also, if you feel called to work together, if what I shared here inspired you, my energy inspires you, I really feel I can support you, but would also love to just jump on a call together to get to know each other a little bit and see if we're a good fit. Like the base is that energetics. If our energetics align, then yeah, we'll do great work. So I'll leave it here. Thank you so much for going on this long story with me. Hope you enjoyed your tea, or if you had any beverage. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, this episode. I'm sending you much love, and yeah, I can't wait to create more. Peace, much love.